5 patterns to break down the high press. Here I use 1-4-4-2 versus 1-4-4-2 as an example, but you can use the same ideas with any formation against any formation, just fine tune based on your team. First pattern, free center back. What often happens with teams that press the goalkeeper, let's say we have a goal kick here. I recommend you start the goal kick by center back playing the ball to keeper, because this usually allows you to play in a way that sets one of your center backs free. So what usually happens, the two strikers start to press, and if they go all the way pressing the goalkeeper, what you can do is that both or one of your central midfielders come closer, and when the striker is pressing, you play to the midfielder and push the central defender up, the one from the pressing side, and you play to the center back. And now, if the other team is well coached, most likely this forward will turn and start chasing your center back. But be ready for that, make your center back to dribble, and you should be able to get pass forward. Next pattern, fullback one-on-one. Let's remove these lines here and set the stage for the fullback. Alright, same setup. It can be a goal kick or open play. Let's say now it's open play. So 1-4-4-2 for the red team and 1-4-4-2 for our team. Okay, so let's say you have the possession but the opponent is still pressing high. What you can do is that you push your fullbacks wide and maybe even drop them a little so they get a bit more space around here. This is also good for two reasons. One, of course, your fullback has more space if your center back plays the fullback, but also if the winger decides to mark the fullback closer, that will create space for your winger and you get free pass to your winger. But if the opponent decides to stay compact and not allow that pass, most teams don't allow it, what will happen? Your fullback has more space. So you play to your fullback, and what most high pressing teams now do, they try to close you on the sideline. So maybe strikers try to prevent you from circulating, midfielders comes, whole team. But now the winger is closing the fullback, and depending on how they do it, your fullback can go one-on-one. Many teams make the fullback close wide, so they don't allow pass the sideline. In that case, when the winger is closing, maybe not that much, but when the winger is closing the sideline, what you want your fullback to do is to dribble middle and using the momentum against the winger. And to be honest, most wingers are bad at defending, so your fullbacks should be able to do this. So the winger is closing the sideline, just make your fullback look like he placed this ball through the side to number 7, but instead shift in the middle, use the momentum against the winger and dribble past him, and from there you can pass or go forward however you like. If, however, the winger closes center or runs straight to the fullback, what you can do, just make this pass and make the fullback push forward, and you create opportunity to break the last line. As said, wingers are not the players with the most work rate, especially defending their own goal, so use that as an advantage. Third pattern, striker layoff. Again, let's remove these drawings. Now we will use a striker or strikers to lay off the ball to midfield. So again, let's put our players in their positions, 1-4-4-2, both teams. This can be a goal kick or open play around your penalty box. The principle stays the same. Let's say again the opponent is pressing aggressively all the way to goalkeeper. What you can do is to use all your outfield players except maybe strikers, maybe wingers, depending how you play. but try to lure the opponent away from your strikers. So both midfielders, one can be inside the box, another can be close. You lure the direct opponents further away from the strikers, and you want your strikers to be as high on the pitch as possible. So you get maximum space here. And what you will do is that one of the players, doesn't matter, it can be a goalkeeper, it can be a center back, it can be a fullback, plays long ball to one of the strikers. You want them to be close together, so either one can go to the ball, and if there's a second ball, you have a chance winning it. Now, when it's 2 against 2, center backs rarely have courage to try to get in front, because if they miss the ball, it's 2 against 2, it can be 2 against 1. So many times the center back stays behind, and especially if the another striker is close by. So you should get this pass off. And now, the important thing, your wingers and your midfielders, when they see that the goalkeeper or center back or fullback is giving this pass, they should start the run around this area. So however the ball arrives to striker, the striker can lay off one touch to one of these players. And again, usually if you execute this well, oftentimes your midfielder even arrives it before the direct opponent, and even though sometimes the defender has advantage in terms of distance, the difficulty for these players are that they need to turn when the ball travels. They need to turn, and they cannot see the ball and their direct opponent. So even though you play this ball, and let's say these midfielders, well, they can of course run backwards, but then if this player gets the ball and starts to attack, they can't help. So basically they have to turn, and when they turn, they lose the sight on their direct opponents, and now even they arrive early, your players can decide which side they make the run, so that way they usually end up free. Pattern 4, winger leap. Again, let's remove all these arrows and drawings, and we create a new situation. This one requires some kicking technique, so you need to be able to kick the ball at least, let's say, 50 meters to execute this properly. But most under 15, 16 players can do it with a bit of practice. So again, 1-4-4-2, blue team, midfielders there, strikers, wing, and opposing player. A good tactic to use, especially on the goal, if you want to try something different. What you want is that you want to isolate your wingers all the way aside. You can do it in different ways. One way is to make your fullback drop a bit, your midfielders drop a bit, your strikers stay in the middle or drop in the midfield. But anyways, you want your wingers have as much space as possible around here. And again, what you want to do is that usually it's the goalkeeper or one of your center backs needs to play the ball all the way up here. So as said, you need some power technique to execute this properly, but it's very effective when you can do it. So the opposing team is spread, and you create 2 1-against-1s against the opposing fullbacks. And if you happen to have a winger who's maybe taller, good with head, you can have huge advantage using this pattern. So what we want is that when the ball is traveling, you want your players to move closer. And what you should try to do is, if the fullback is going to challenge the ball, if it's a header, the winger should try to leap the ball behind the fullback, and your striker should make the move behind. Or even if it arrives to the feet, let's say you lift the ball and it drops to the feet, the winger can, with one touch, flick the ball behind the fullback, and maybe your midfielder or number 10 is making the run behind. Really effective tactic when executed properly. Number 5, out of position movements. This one can be used with creativity, and let's first write this one. Okay, so last one. Even a center back, maybe not the goalkeeper, but any other position. We don't want that much creativity that our goalkeeper makes a deep run. Usually this is best when it's a goal kick, but can be used in open play also. So, what I mean by out of position movement? I mean that when the opponent is pressing high, they usually mark 1-against-1. And the coach has said, okay, find your direct opponent and follow him and blah blah blah. But you should check what happens if you really move out of position. So, let's say you have a goal kick. And this is a typical situation, okay, 1-4-4-2 and there's a direct opponent nearby. But what if your number 10 is dropping all the way down here? Does the center back really follow? That's what you should try to check. Usually players have like, even though the coach says, and players are, yeah, I will follow him, but do they really follow? Try to move a bit further than normally. Okay, this one, maybe the back follows, but does he really follow all the way up here? Maybe at some point he hesitates. Ooh, that's quite far away. Maybe they play over me, and at that point, number 10 is free. Or, oh, strikers there. Or, what happens if your right winger goes there? Does the left fullback follow? I don't think so. And if the other team is not that well organized yet, of course, what they should do, they should shift like this, communicate and change the direct opponent for a moment. But most teams are not that developed yet. Or what will happen if, let's say, your center back plays the goalkeeper and makes a deep run? Does the striker, actually that's number 9, does the striker really start to press the goalkeeper when his direct opponent is here? Maybe goalkeeper plays to another center back who lifts the ball here, and now you have your center back winning the first ball and leaping it behind the defense. So, and of course you want your fullback to take the position. But anyways, the point is that make the movement so far away that it actually pushes the limit for the opposing team how they are defending. If you like patterns like this and want to build brave, fast and competitive players, check the link in the description and join the Football Coaching Hub. Watch this video next because YouTube thinks you like it, and we will see on the next one.